The current course is called Robotics Game of Life, and what we noticed in previous years is that many of the students that have some experience with LEGO Mindstorms, they kind of stop at LEGO Mindstorms and they participate in a competition or a second, and they don't get the chance to solve interesting problems and to really learn more about the robotics. The other problem that we notice is that because they stop, they don't get introduced into other subjects of the computer science, and they don't do other programming languages, and that's a problem that we'd like to solve with the current course. A Game of Life is actually a very simple game with very simple rules. If we imagine all of these blocks as different cells, life organisms, we could have different rules about which of them live and which of them die. And Conway, as a mathematician, he came up with a few rules that make the game very interesting. And the rules are the following. If one cell has 0 or 1 neighbor, it dies at the next generation, because there is not enough life around it. If another cell has 3 or has 4 or more neighbors, it also dies. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 neighbors for this cell, so it will die. And similarly, if we have only 2 or 3 neighbors, the cell continues to live, and this cell here, it has 1, 2 neighbors. It doesn't have a neighbor here or here, so it will continue to the next generation. And this is the same for this cell. Well, this cell, it has 3, 1, 2, 3. And there is also one other rule. If a cell has exactly 3 neighbors, then it lives again, so it is born. And currently this cell here, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 neighbors, and this cell here has 1, 2, 3, 4 neighbors, so they both stay dead. And at the next generation we will have the following situation. We will have this cell that stays alive, we'll have this cell that is dead, we'll also have this cell that's dead, and we'll have this cell that has 3 neighbors, so it stays alive, and we'll have this cell that has 3 neighbors and stays alive, and this cell that has only 1 neighbors and it dies. And that's the second generation of our initial seed. And then we continue with this. And would this live for the next generation? Actually, the answer is pretty simple. The new generation will look like this. This is the second, then the third, then the fourth, then the sixth, 7th. And our idea is to build a robot that would actually move the different blocks according to the rule that Conway came up with. We think that this course will be pretty interesting because we'll do it in the following way. Not just the robots, but because many of you are familiar with the EV3 language and with the EV3G language and can program EV3 robots, we'll do part of the programs in EV3 and another part of the programs in JavaScript, which is a nice, interesting language, and you don't have to know it. We'll just do some of the examples that you can run directly in your browser. And we hope that you'll be able to do a parallel between the two languages, which is pretty interesting. Then we'll have a final program that plays the game on the brick screen by drawing some boxes, filling them, empty, fill, etc. And then we'll join the solutions so that we have a final solution where a robot actually moves and detects or inspects the field and then moves some of these blocks as they are different cells. And this will be the final solution, and this will work both for if you have only 1 robot, or you can have 10 robots, or you can have 100 robots. And of course with 100 robots it will be much easier to do a larger field. And that's it for the course. We'll build most of the programs for EV3 and for JavaScript, and they'll be ready so that you can just download and experiment with them. And the same applies for JavaScript, where for the more advanced view, you'll be able to build the programs from scratch. The idea is again to make a parallel between the EV3 and the JavaScript, to introduce you to another programming language that you can see that it is not that different from the EV3, and to solve a very interesting problem, the robotics game of life.